From empathy to transformation, the 5-step not-for-profit strategy. Hi, everybody. This is John Kuntz, your host of the Disruptor podcast. And today I'm going to give you a quick overview of what I call the human-centric design for not-for-profit organizations. This process is based on a book I wrote called The 5-Step Not-for-Profit Strategy Blueprint, a proven playbook for executive directors to drive collaboration, governance, and growth. The basic concept starts with what I call the double diamond approach. This is a process of starting with a specific challenge or problem and then diverging your thinking, then converging your thinking into specific needs, then diverging it again to generate big ideas, or sometimes BHAGs as we call them, and then converging back down to really define what you want to do and how you want to approach your overall strategic planning or strategic plan. So the first step of the process is you start with a problem that your organization might be trying to overcome or solve. Next, you identify the key personas or stakeholders within your organization. And for many not-for-profits, it's quite the same. There might be a student or a parent or staff, volunteers, donors, board members, etc. The key here is to really get under the covers and understand who these personas are and how they interrelate with each other, particularly as it pertains to your programming and services within your not-for-profit organization. We start by doing a stakeholder map. That's where we discover and document the shared ideas about the key personas, their expectations, and their relationships. Next, we explore multiple dimensions of our stakeholders through empathy mapping. Empathy mapping is a quick way to have a holistic view of a persona that forces you to think more about just their role. It really allows you to walk in their shoes per se. And we'll go over more of what an empathy map is in a later video. But the single most important part of this process, I believe, is empathy mapping. If you can understand what your stakeholders or your key personas say, think, do, and feel, you're a long way away of creating a strategic plan that meets your needs and their needs. Speaking of needs, the next part of this is to identify needs through need statements. This hinges on your ability to understand and meet those needs of the stakeholder. And then you start to distill each stakeholder needs so you can identify exactly what they need from your organization. From there, you look at broad concepts of the stakeholder needs through big ideas. The crazier, the better. This is part of the diverging exercise in the second half of the diamond. From there, we start to converge our thinking. So we start to prioritize these needs, basically looking at the needs or the ideas that you've come up with, ones that can be delivered quickly and easily. In other words, have a high feasibility within your organization under your current programming and or funding model, and then what actually brings high value to your stakeholders. Once you identify a stakeholder's high value requirements and your ability to deliver, now you're on your first step to a prioritization grid. And then you start to identify where and how and when you're going to deliver those experiences or those ideas. Will they be near term, midterm, or long term? This helps you get stuff going quickly using an agile framework, which allows you to quickly deliver value, pivot where necessary, double down on the things that are working well, and stop doing the things that don't work without losing the focus or the vision of your mid and long-term needs over time. So that's it in a nutshell. Thank you for listening to this quick overview of the Disruptor's 5-step not-for-profit strategy